Nihao, 我是 Stephen Brown. Today we're going to talk about a Chinese fountain pen, which is why I started with something that should have sounded like Mandarin. Okay, now I've reviewed a Chinese fountain pen before, and you may have seen the video in which I reviewed this pen by the brand Jinhao. I unboxed it, and then the cap fell apart in 3 pieces, and then I tried to ink up the pen and the converter didn't draw up any ink. So at that point I thought, the brand Jinhao was interesting, but this is probably going to be my only Jinhao pen. But then someone said, well, you should try out the 159 by the same brand. And I thought, well, only if I can source it at a decent price. And I did. I bought one for 99 cents on eBay. Shipping was $9.48, but the pen was just less than $1, so I suppose I've made a good deal. And, my friends, a good deal it was. So, think about the 159. Think of these numbers. What does that remind you of? 159? Mont Blanc Meisterstück 149. Yes, because this is a replica. Okay, now my Mont Blanc, I'm going to do a shootout between the two, but my 149 is still at the repair shop, so today I'll just talk about the 159, which came in this nice box, China red. I really like it. I think it's a nice simple box. I'm not sure how well you can see this, but it has some texture to it, which it's just cardboard, but I think it looks really nice. When you open it up, there we have the pen, sealed. This is a big pen, because it's an imitation of the Meisterstück 149, and that too is a big pen. So we got this nice little bag with a lion, that's a dragon lion, I'm not sure what it is, but it's on there. And then we have the pen. Now this is a significant pen. I mean, this is big, yeah? Here is the Mont Blanc 146, which is the only Mont Blanc I in the Meisterstück range where they currently have. So on top we have the 159 Jinhao, and in the bottom we have the Mont Blanc. Now of course there are differences. So all the gold you see in this pen is actually gold. All the silver you see in this pen is, well, I don't know, chrome or something. But still, it's a pretty nice pen. Now you can see that the overall shape is pretty much spot on, and I do seem to remember this is indeed the size of the 149, so it's a big pen. Okay. Now, I'll cover the pen, I'll cover the parts, and I'll tell you what I like about it, what I don't like about it. First of all, the pen seems to be made of some type of light metal, aluminum, aluminium, whatever, which gives the pen a decent feel. It feels well constructed. This didn't feel particularly well constructed because it fell apart. This is very decently made, so I like this. Okay, we have the cap. The cap consists of a couple of interesting parts. First of all, these are usually 3 bands on the Meisterstück range, and they are sort of 3 bands here, but you probably can't really see that. It's just one wide band with some, actually it's just the same band, but it's got some metal etched out, so to speak. So the clip, well, it's an interesting clip. Got some spring to it, and it's got a chariot actually on this sort of shield. I'm sure you can't really see that very well, but it's a chariot, a Chinese chariot. The ring, so the cap, it is indeed Mont Blancish. Okay, then we have the actual pen. The nib is stainless steel, I'm sure. It says Jinhao, there is some detail on it, again the chariot, some other etchings. It looks pretty nice, and it says 18 kgp. I have no idea. I had the same issue with the other Jinhao pen. It said the same thing. So only thing I can think of kgp is 18 karat gold plated. Well, sure. I really believe that. On a 99-cent pen, I don't think this is gold plated. It doesn't look gold plated. I don't know what it is. Perhaps it's something else. All I can tell you is it's a surprisingly smooth nib. It really, I was expecting something terribly scratchy. It is a medium nib. It is Asian, so it tends to be, well, I expected it to be a bit fine, but actually it gives a very decent medium line, so no complaints there. The grip section, as with the Montblanc 149, is fat and bold, somewhat stubby. It's not very long, but it's there. To me, it was pleasant to hold. I enjoyed that. Definitely big enough. If you post it, it's really big, you know, really big pen. Nice girth. It would be tempting to convert this to an eyedropper, but it's all metal, so ink can make the pen rust. I wouldn't do that, but it's tempting. Okay, so this is again. So I have to. Yeah, I think this is the section 2 is metal. So that's yeah, another, it adds to the weight of the pen. We have the threads for the cap. Now we have the barrel. Now with the Montblanc 149, this is a blind cap, which you can twist and then you move a piston up and down. Well, that's fairly difficult to produce, especially considering Montblanc has this type of telescopic piston thing going on, which is difficult to produce. So the Chinese solution is to simply make this, you know, a separate item and put in a converter. Well, why not? It works. It's a pretty interesting converter. I think it will also take standard international cartridges. This converter is fairly short and stubby, but it holds quite a bit of ink. I've been using the pen for a couple of days, done quite a bit of writing, and it's still only half empty. So it's not a bad thing. It again says Jinhao, and it has this same chariot. I really love the chariot. It's everywhere. It's on there, and it works. Drew up ink just fine. This nib does have a breather hole, unlike the other pen I reviewed previously. So there you go. What do I like about it? What do I not like about it? Well, first of all, I like that I paid 99 cents for this. And the shipping was 10 times as high, in fact. So it's I mean, that notwithstanding, I think I got a very good deal because I like the pen. So if you're interested, do an eBay search. You can probably find these people. I like the size, I like the weight. You know I like heavier pens, you know I like larger pens, you know, especially for one person in the UK. I have large hands, and this is still one of the few pens that my hands do not dwarf. So that's a good thing. What do I not like about it? Well, of course, it would have been nice if this would have been a piston filler, but come on, 99 cents, what can you expect? The converter works well. Something that may be a small issue is that the edges of the threads, not the threads themselves, but the lower edge here can be a bit sharp. So if you tend to hold your pen a little highly, as I do, it could be a little sharp, but I've actually used pens in which this was sharper, and with this pen, for some reason, I hold it the way normal people do. So I really hold the section like this, and I have had no problems. So the only minor gripe I may have is that the nib does not seem to lay down an extremely consistent line. So it gets a bit wider and it gets a bit narrower as you write. For me, this is no problem. But perhaps if you're looking for a really, you know, a fine nib or something, then you may have a problem with that. So in all, I really like it. What I also like is you can just pull out the feed and the nib. So cleaning this thing is a matter of seconds. You just, you know, clean the feed, the nib, you flush out the section and you're done. You can take apart the converter, you just flush it out. So you can clean this pen in a minute and then ink it up with another ink because it's all dry. You can just dry it out. And that's it. So a very nice pen. I hereby officially revise my opinion of Jinhao pens. I think they can make really good stuff. And yeah, it can be a bit cheaper. If you look at this, it looks like there's some type of I don't know, copper or whatever in there. Well, probably not even real copper. There's some kind of metal. But in all, decent pen. And for this amount of money, you can't go wrong. So, enough talk. Time to do some writing. So I hope this was useful, and I'll see you later. Bye-bye. Okay, here we go. Writing with the big Jinhao 159. In medium, and the ink, if I'm not mistaken, is Tanzanite by Private Reserve. I think it's an interesting nib. It's pretty smooth. It does occasionally skip a bit. We'll see that later on when I do the fast writing. Here is some regular writing. Now, what you may see, maybe it's my imagination, but I seem to... It looks like there is some line variation. Can you see that? I mean, here I apply an equal amount of pressure. These lines are fairly fine. And then here it suddenly gets quite a bit wider. And that's kind of characteristic for the whole writing experience with this pen. It's not a huge issue, but I just note it. So, in all, I still love it. Nice, heavy pen. Let's do some quick writing. Okay, so that's actually not so bad. It doesn't really, it skips a little bit here, but with the upward strokes, it's fairly common. Not bad at all. Let's check out some line variation. So I apply a bit more pressure with every stroke. Well, that's pretty nice. Not bad. We have some wider lines, we have some finer lines. Looks good to me. Okay, then some coloring. As you can see, the nib lays down a pretty consistent patch of ink. So that's another good sign. Well, I can't tell you anything, but I really like this pen. I think it's a pretty smooth writer. Steve Meister approved. So, I hope this was useful. If you want to have a Meisterstück 149, but you can't afford it, Jinhao 159 all the way. Yes, of course, it's a bit less. Yes, you won't get the 18 karat gold nib, and you won't get the piston filler, and blah 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 blah. But it's a decent enough pen, and for 99 cents, can't really go wrong, right? Okay, so I hope this was useful, and I'll see you later. Bye bye.